Call this meeting of the Schertz-Cibolo-Universal City Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Code Chapter 551, and the time is now 6 p.m. And Dee, can we have a roll call, please?
All board members are present, Mr. Wilson and Ms. Breisbach.
I believe for the record, Mr. Wilson will be a little bit late, correct? And Ms. Breisbach is actually working tonight and will not be able to attend tonight's board meeting. At this time, can we have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I just want to say welcome to everyone and appreciate you for being here tonight. Do we have any first timers? Yeah, this is a public meeting of the school board. All of us are your representatives, just to kind of tell you a little bit about what we're doing here tonight. We've got 5 school board members here. We're all volunteers representing the community. We have Dr. Gibson here as the superintendent. He's basically the CEO of the school district, and then we have several of our administrators down here in the front. We welcome everyone here tonight. If you guys have any issues or concerns about what's going on in our district, feel free to contact your board members, or better yet, contact the administrators that would be in charge of that section of that item. More often than not, they're able to help you get things taken care of. We do also have public comments paper in the back. I think Edie may have instructed everybody earlier to go ahead and have that filled out prior to the start of the meeting. And we also have another form back there for feedback. If there's any ideas that you have or work on that you'd like to see us address, and you may not feel comfortable coming up with public comments, feel free to fill those out, and we'll definitely do our best to take care of things. Anything as far as that goes? Gibson? All right. At this time, what we always do, again, our board tries to do its best to stay on track with the things that we're tasked to do, and we do our best not to get in the papers and get any media attention, so to speak, and definitely do our best to serve the district. So we always want to be mindful of our goals and our objectives and our values. So at this time, we're going to the Vice President recite the district's mission, vision, values, and priorities. Mr. Westbrook.
Our vision prepare the student to be a productive citizen. Our values are leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning. Our mission statement, Schertz-Cibolo-Universal City Independent School District provides a safe, secure, and challenging learning environment through the responsible use of all resources to afford opportunities for all students to realize their individual potential and to become responsible and productive members of society. Our priorities: priority number 1, high achievement for all students. Priority number 2, high performing and engaged workforce. Priority number 3, effective and efficient district and campus operations.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. We'll also now have board recitation of the district's belief statements.
We believe all students have the capacity to learn and be successful. We believe a safe, secure environment is paramount to learning. We believe living our core values of leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning result in the ability to set and achieve lifelong goals.
We believe quality instruction addresses the individual needs of students. We believe engaging, interactive, and authentic teaching creates empowered, active learners prepared for our changing world.
We believe embracing technology as a relevant tool that enhances learning in and beyond the classroom. And we believe in a professional learning community culture that allows time to collaborate and share best practices in order to improve continually.
We believe good communication is critical to success. We believe lifelong learning enriches staff through professional development. We believe measures of our success go beyond standardized testing. And we believe public education is defined by the local community with limited state involvement.
All right, thank you very much, board members. And just for the audience, you should have a copy of the agenda in the back. And, we normally wouldn't do it this way, but at 7 o'clock, we're going to go into what's called a closed session to conduct a grievance hearing, and we'll have to ask everyone to leave the room at that time. And I'm assuming that'll probably last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, but we're going to try our best here over the next 55 minutes to try to get as many of these items through as possible. So I think most of you will address the topics that you came here tonight to deal with. At this time, we'll go on to recognition items. Recognition of student representatives for the month of November 2016. Dr. Gibson.
Thank you, President Inman, trustees, staff members, and guests. It's my honor tonight to introduce to you Emily Wallen, a 12th grader at Clemens High School, and Haley Roberts, a 12th grader at Steele High School, who are joining the board up here. We're going to ask you guys to go down and join your administrator at the podium. And our two traditional high schools, as is the tradition in this district, each send a student representative to each school board meeting to participate in the opening ceremony, if you will, of our school board meeting. So we're glad to have them here, and we'll let you guys introduce the students.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. At this time, I would like to introduce an exceptional young woman. Ms. Haley Roberts is currently a senior at Steele High School and been in the district for the past 2 years. She's the daughter of David and Teresa Roberts. Haley is here tonight to represent the FCCLA and PALS programs, and I'd like to recognize Ms. Jana Mahoney, her PALS teacher and FCCLA sponsor this time. Haley is a 2-year member of the Practicum in Human Services class, also known as PALS. She has led the class with her bright personality and outstanding leadership skills. Haley is quick to volunteer for anything that is asked and is a great mentor to the elementary students. Haley is also a 2-year member of FCCLA, competing in both regionals and state. She also serves as a local officer within the FCCLA chapter. Haley's also a 2-year member of the band. She serves as a section leader to the trumpet and is secretary of the band. Haley is a member of the mixed company a cappella group at the school as well. However, this is not enough for this fine young lady. She also volunteers at her church and has a job. And as you can see, Haley has exceptional work ethic and has managed to stay on the AP honor roll as well. Haley's future plans are to attend college and pursue a major in child psychology with the hope of encouraging children to see their potential. Ms. Haley Roberts.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. Hello, my name is Haley Roberts, and I'm a senior at Steele High School. I'm a second-year PAL and a 2-year member of FCCLA. This year, the Steele PAL program has done more than mentor students at the elementary schools. We reach out in other areas by pairing up with a vocational class at Steele each month for a fun and educational experience. We have done things like having a pumpkin patch, all the way to decorating Christmas ornaments. And we have more things planned for the spring. The PAL program is also pairing up with Cibolo PD to help wrap presents and pass out holiday gifts for Blue Santa. Our class is also teaming up with Steele Student Council in March to put on Spud Week. This stands for Students Performing Unselfish Deeds, in which we challenge students to think about others before themselves. We also raise money to go towards a cause that our class votes on. Last year, we raised $9,966 to go to the Callan Hughes Foundation. This year, our plan is to once again put on the annual Daddy-Daughter Dance and our Mother-Son Night of Fun as well. Our goal is to be an influential group with a positive impact. I'm also a second-year member of FCCLA. This year, I'm competing with a team in interpersonal communication to help educate my fellow peers about the growth mindset. This year, our FCCLA chapter is doing more community service events, such as the Chosen Marathon, Daddy-Daughter Dance, and helping volunteer with the local elementary schools. Our chapter is also has the most regional officers in the state of Texas. Heidi, Ashley, and Kristen all serve as regional officers and even hosted a fall leadership conference at our school. Our chapter is a 4-time national qualifying chapter with the hopes of qualifying again this year. After my experiences in PALS and FCCLA, I plan on attending college and pursuing psychology, child psychology. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. I'm Julie McClellan, Assistant Principal at Seminole Clemens High School, and I'm pleased to be here with you this evening to introduce our November Student of the Month, Emily Wallen. Emily Wallen is the daughter of Colonel Richard Wallen of the United States Air Force, who is here with her tonight. Emily is currently a senior at Clemens High School and has been an SCUC student for the past 2 years. She is here tonight representing our journalism and newspaper departments. She is also escorted by our sponsor, Ms. Brittany Hernandez. As you will see shortly, Emily provides our Buffalo student body with a voice in a variety of ways. Emily has been a Samuel Clemens newspaper team member for the past 2 years. Last year, she was a marketing editor, and currently she holds the important role of editor-in-chief of our campus newspaper. Emily is our current president of our student-to-student organization, which provides peer support for all students new to our campus. She participates in our newly Chick-fil-A Leader Academy as our social media ambassador. As a student representative on the Buffalo Herd, she represents all of her peers in sharing inputs, ideas, and feedback directly to our administration, teachers, and staff members about ideas and changes that need to be made at Clemens. Emily plans on attending college after graduation to pursue a double major in journalism and social and cultural analysis. Her dream is eventually to work for the National Geographic. It is my honor to introduce our editor-in-chief of the Clemens Correspondent and a future journalist, Emily Wallen.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. My name is Emily Wallen, and I'm a senior at Samuel Clemens. It is an honor to be speaking to you tonight. At any level in journalism, the main focus is the ability to tell the stories of those around us and capture the moments that mean the most. Before I begin, I think it's important for you to understand just a little bit about my story, because it has not only shaped the ways in which I run the newspaper, but it also gives insight into the program, the functions of the program. I moved into the district from South Korea only weeks before the beginning of my junior year. I was placed into a remedial journalism class, but through proving that I was not only knowledgeable about the subject, but also dedicated, I was given a schedule change that placed me onto the newspaper staff. Days into my time on staff, I found myself assuming the position of marketing editor, which is not only an honor for someone who's first year on staff to assume, but it also proved that this is where I belong. Throughout the year, I worked on pages for the publication and attempted to teach myself the ins and outs of the correspondent. And before I knew it, my senior year had begun and I was the editor-in-chief. Journalism at Clemens takes on two roles, the newspaper and the yearbook, both of which I am involved with to some degree. The newspaper, known as the Correspondent, is a monthly publication that works to not only share facts about the school, but also create dialogue about important subjects, such as the fact that we have an important role as young adults in society. As editor-in-chief, it is my job to not only create these, dialogues, but it's also my job to mentor my fellow staff members, and it's my job to be an active part of the school. The yearbook staff, known as the Stampede, works to commemorate the year in a way that is not only aesthetically pleasing, but also factual. Journalism at Clemens is more than just a club, and it's more than just a class. It's a place where we belong, and it is where, we get rid of the stress of everyday life. Members of the staff are also striving to be active players within the school and the town. Whether it is volunteering at Angel Tree at Christmas time or working for the Schertz magazine, journalism students do the most. I currently am involved in numerous clubs and organizations, many of which I hold leadership roles in. And I also work for the Schertz magazine as a photographer and staff writer. But my most important and my most proud accomplishment is the fact that my staff is doing so well this year. There's nothing quite as rewarding as the smell of newspapers hot off the press, or the sound of my fellow students speaking about my articles in the hallway. Journalism is in my blood. It is in my bones. After college, I plan to work for National Geographic, but before then, I hope to major in journalism and social and cultural analysis. I had a passion for journalism before I became a Buffalo last year, but it has definitely been nurtured within the walls of Room A104. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you tonight for allowing me to speak and for allowing me all of the freedoms that I've been given within this district. I am eternally grateful for the fact that I have grown as a journalist and for the fact that I have been allowed to mentor so many wonderful minds in the journalism room. Thank you. Because you were planning just to look at our mama over there.
You want to shift down, Ted, or shift to the right?
All right, great job, students. We also have further recognition, student achievements presented by Ms. Chad.
Good evening, President Inman, Dr. Gibson, and members of the board. Tonight, we're here to recognize SCUC students who have earned outstanding academic distinction by making a high score on the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, which is also known as PSAT and MST. These tests measure critical reading ability, mathematical problem-solving ability, and writing ability, rather than existing knowledge. The National Merit Scholarship Programs recognize students from all over the country. Approximately 1.6 million juniors in 22,000 high schools participate, and students are selected from the highest achievers across the nation. Students, congratulations on your accomplishments, and best of luck on your bright future. As I call your name, please come up to be recognized, and then proceed around the dais to shake hands with our directors and school board members and superintendent. And then please stay up front afterwards so that we can take a group photo. Among the approximately 1.6 million students who entered the competition, 16,000 academically talented students reached the semifinal stage. These students will continue to compete for the 7,500 National Merit Scholarships worth approximately $33 million. Our National Merit semi-finalist from Clemens High School is Madison Benzor. Approximately 50,000 high schoolers receive letters of commendation in recognition of their outstanding academic promise and may be eligible for special scholarships provided by corporate and business sponsors. Our National Merit commended students are from Clemens High School, Sydney Crowley, Alicia Goodall, and Jaden Wood. And then from Steele High School, Cal Craighead, Parker Dentino, and Nissa Miller. In addition to the National Merit Scholarship Programs, the College Board's National Hispanic Recognition Program identifies nearly 5,000 out of 250,000 outstanding Hispanic and Latino juniors who take the PSAT and MSQT. Students must achieve the minimum required selection index score and earn a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher by the middle of their junior year. Our National Hispanic Scholar Recognition Program recipients from Clemens High School are Madison Benzor, Jacob Biggerstaff, Madison Dinkins, and Dahlia Harris. Congratulations to all these students.
Great job, kid. How was this one? Great job.
Congratulations to everyone. This time we'll have public comments, and I see we have just one that submitted a form at this point, Ms. Regina Nicholas.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go ahead and you can come on up. For the sake of continuity, I'm gonna read a script here we have when it comes to public comments, okay? In order to provide consistency and fairness to all individuals, public comments will be heard in accordance with Board Policy BED Local, and procedures outlined in Administrative Regulation BED. Comments should be limited to topics such as policies, curriculum, and facilities. Any direct criticism of a specific employee will not be heard during public comments and should be considered separately as provided in board policy. In this context, individuals are cautioned to not identify any employee by name or by any combination of words or descriptions which could identify the employee to another individual. Public comments will be limited to individuals who signed up to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting before the board meeting was called to order. An individual who signed up to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting may not relinquish their time to another individual. No public comment shall exceed 5 minutes in length. To ensure compliance with time limitations, a yellow card will be held up by the board secretary at 4 minutes, and a red card will be held up at 5 minutes. If you have an issue you would like to discuss with an administrative staff member, complete the designated form located at the back table and place it in the wooden box, and your concerns and contact information will be forwarded to the appropriate staff members. I just want to kind of set the ground rules, okay?
Sure. And,
So, Ms. Nicholas, go ahead and proceed.
I prepared my statement so as to
Okay.
stay within that 5-minute time frame, so I won't even see a yellow card.
Sure.
So the topic I'm presenting for your consideration today is the policy related to campus classroom visits, specifically the policy that mentions the following. Campus classroom visits shall not be permitted if the requested visit involves a third party other than a school official, parent, or guardian observing or providing specialized services to the student. To give you the background, both of my children are in a special education classroom and have just recently transferred to Corbett High School. As expected, with any transition, as they get older, their school day is now longer. My children have a disease called mitochondrial disease. This disease directly impacts them at the cellular level. The result not only impacts normal development, but it challenges them in the area of activity. It also impacts their stamina and ability to tolerate certain activities for long periods of time. Currently, they receive their medically prescribed therapies in the home, and they receive these after 4 p.m., 4 days a week after an 8-hour day at school, which is new for them. This is 6 hours of therapy between the two of them, which is being consolidated in 4 days. Because of the increased amount of time spent in school and the impacts I've described, they're not responding to therapy. They're tired, as expected with their disease. I've spoken with the doctor who stated that they will better respond to their therapies during the day when they are most alert and most rested and focused. Having said that, is also willing to write a letter to support this. I'm asking that we reconsider this policy based on the needs of the children and allow them the medical therapy that they need independent of the educational therapy model to be provided in the classroom. I've seen a lot of wonderful things in the area of special education within this district. We love this district. We live here because of the district and the special education department. I'd like to continue seeing us benefit in this area and believe that this would truly be a milestone in continuing towards improvement. And it would also possibly benefit other families who perhaps aren't getting the therapy that they need because of this policy that's in place today. I don't know how long it's been in place, but I think if it's been in place for some time, that it might be worth revisiting. So in summary, I'm asking for an amendment to this policy based on the medical needs of the children
without compromising the educational model, which again is highly valued and supported by my family.
Thanks for your comments, and just so you know also, I should have read this earlier, but the board is really not supposed to engage in any kind of conversation about it just because it's not an agenda item per se.
Right.
Having said that, just for clarification, which policy is it that you're talking about?
The
You know-
campus classroom visits.
You know the policy, like BBA, DBD, or whatever? GKD?
GKC.
GKC, okay. And finally, have you had an opportunity to discuss this with the staff at all?
I called the mayor's union for this specific
Okay, so
topic.
that's still working its way through the system?
They encourage it.
And they encouraged us to come to the board, yes.
All right, so you guys can go. Yeah, I guess another clarifying question. Who is it that's not being able to visit your students?
The
Your children?
physical therapists,
Private there.
occupational therapy, speech therapy, all of therapy.
All right,
And it's
so
medical intensive, it's not educational.
we certainly appreciate you coming on the board and sharing that with us, and we'll certainly direct the appropriate administration, personnel to deal with that and just report back to the board at some point in the future.
Will I be notified just because I'm into this process? Is there anyone else follow that up?
They will certainly communicate with you.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thanks. And that was it, Dee Dee, on public comments? All right, this time we have correspondence. Anything else we need to talk about as far as that goes? Utah?
I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Well, we got that in, okay.
You gotta take the chance, you know, you gotta jump in everything.
All right, thank you, Mr. Utah.
Don't you wish everyone to have a happy and safe Thanksgiving?
Can't go wrong with that. All right, this time we'll have a public hearing on the schools first, the financial accountability rating system. I believe that will be Ms. Skinny.
Give them a second here to get the screen down. Good evening, Mr. and Dr. Gibson, members of the board. Tonight, this is the public hearing on our Schools First hearing. Schools First is the financial integrity rating system of Texas, and this is the 12th year that the financial health of every school district in Texas is evaluated. The primary goal of Schools First is to achieve quality performance in the management of a school district. School districts are required to hold a public meeting, which we're doing this evening, to publicize our district's financial report and rating. The possible ratings are either superior, above standard, or substandard achievement. Schertz-Cibolo-Universal City ISD has received a superior rating from TEA. This is the 12th year that we have received a superior rating. This rating is based upon our financial data from the 14-15 school fiscal year. And this year, there are 15 indicators instead of 7, which was there last year, that were used by TEA to determine the district school's financial first rating. Just a recap of 1,003 school districts in Texas received a superior rating, 16 received an above standard, and 4 received a substandard achievement of the 1,023 school districts in the state of Texas. There are 15 rating indicators, as I mentioned earlier. This, of course, is written in complicated governmental accounting language, so I'll kind of just try to go through it and kind of explain it. The first rating deals with whether our audit was submitted to TEA in a timely fashion. We have an August 31st deadline. Our audit has to be to TEA by January 28th. The board customarily approves our audit here in our school district in December, and then it was submitted to TEA by the January 22nd of 2016. So we passed that indicator. The second indicator deals with whether there was an unmodified opinion in the audit, and our auditors gave us a clean audit, so we passed that indicator. The next indicator deals with whether our independent auditor found any material weaknesses in our internal controls,
And of course, the answer is yes, saying that the external auditor reported no material weaknesses in our audit report. The third indicator deals with whether we were in compliance with all of our debt payments. And yes, all of our bond payments were made in a timely manner, and there was no disclosures in our audit concerning default on any of our debt agreements. The next indicator dealt with whether the district made timely payments to the teacher retirement system, to the Texas Workforce Commission, to the Internal Revenue System, and also to other government agencies. These deal with most of our payroll reports, and yes, all of our payments were made in a timely manner to all of these entities. The fifth indicator deals with our net asset balance, and what they're looking here is that our net assets are greater than zero. And really, the district kind of passes this twice because our unrestricted net asset balance is greater than zero, and if the district's 5-year percent change in students was 10% or more, the district passes this indicator. The next indicator deals with the number of days of cash on hand, and what they're looking for is that we have enough cash on hand to cover our operating expenditures. And here, yes, the number of days of cash on hand in current investments was 179 days, which is greater than the 90 days that was required for the maximum points. The seventh indicator deals with the measure of our current assets to our current liabilities, and here they're once again looking that we have enough cash on hand to cover all of our liabilities in the district, and our district ratio was 3.21, which is greater than 3.0, and that was the ratio that was required for the maximum points. The eighth indicator looked at again, once again with our long-term liabilities, and they're wanting to make sure that the district has enough assets and it's sufficient to support long-term solvency. And here, this is another one of these indicators where it's talking about if the district's 5-year percent change of students was greater than 10%, the district would automatically pass this indicator. But our ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets was 0.9316, which is greater than the 0.6, which is the ratio required for the maximum points. Here, they're just looking to make sure that we have the assets on hand to cover any of our long-term liabilities that we have. The ninth indicator deals with the district's general fund revenue. If it was equal to or exceeded expenditures, and we exclude facilities and construction here, and if not, was the district number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days. And here the district's number of days of cash on hand is 179, which is greater than the 60 days, which is the acceptable number of days. The 10th indicator deals with the district service coverage ratio, if our debt service coverage ratio was sufficient to meet the required debt service. And here they're looking whether our district's debt service coverage ratio, which is 1.3413, was greater than the 1.20. This is the ratio required for the maximum point. And here they're just looking to see if our tax collections were sufficient enough to make all of our required debt service payments, and we did not have to go out and borrow any money to make our required debt service payments. The next indicator deals with the district's administrative cost ratio, and where they're looking for is if it's equal to or less than the threshold ratio. This indicator deals with our district's administrative costs, which is our central office, and what they're looking for is that that is lower than the district's the district standard for the state. Our administrative cost ratio is 0.0546, and the TA district standard has to be less than 0.0855, which is the ratio required for the maximum points on that one. The 12th one deals with if the district had a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over 3 years. They're looking at our total enrollment to our total staff. And what they're looking for here is if our district was losing students, are we losing staff in the same ratio to that? Our district ratio declined only 0.0014, which is less than the 0.015 required for the threshold. But here, once again, if the student enrollment did not decrease, which it did not decrease in our district, we automatically pass this indicator. So here, once again, we pass it both ways. We pass it automatic way, and also because our ratio declined very, very slightly. The 13th indicator deals with our teams data, and what they're looking here for is that our teams data was submitted and it was clean data, and that the total variance was less than 3% of all the expenditures by function. And here once again, we received a yes, or our teams data, we passed the data quality measurement set by TEA. The 14th indicator deals with, again, with our audit and whether our auditors found that there was any instances of material noncompliance for any of our grants, any of our contracts, or any laws related to local, state, or federal funds. Once again, here we received a yes answer, which says there's no material noncompliance was noted in our audit. That means that we correctly reported all of our grants, we fulfilled all of our contracts, we followed the laws as far as the local, state, and federal laws. The 15th indicator deals with the district if we received an adjusted repayment schedule. We are very fortunate in our district that we do not receive an adjusted repayment schedule. What this does is that in some school districts, if they receive an overpayment from the state and they go ahead and spend that money, then they may be given a financial hardship by TEA, and that then they have an adjusted payment schedule where they take that money away from them over the next course of the year when they're receiving state funding. But in our school district, we did not have that. We did not have an adjusted repayment schedule from TEA. Those are the 15 indicators of Schools First. And as we make this presentation to the public, there's a couple of other things we have to include. So we received 15 out of 15. We received 100 points out of 100 points. There was a 31-point minimum to pass, so we received a superior rating. The other items that we have to include in this public hearing this evening deal with the superintendent's contract, which is enclosed. It's the disclosure here, and it is enclosed. I'd like to also state at this time that this presentation is available on our website under the Finance Division. We have all of our Schools First reports there, and anyone can go look at that at any time. So at this time here, we are disclosing the superintendent's contract. Just quickly go through that because it's too little to read. The second disclosure reveals with any reimbursements that were received by the superintendent and our board members for fiscal year 2014 and 2015. Here we show any of the reimbursements that were made on behalf of the board members or the superintendent for the fiscal year ending in 2015, regardless of the manner of payment that we did. If it was a direct pay, a credit card, a cash, or a purchase order. Here we have to list the board member's name as well as Dr. Gibson's name. And it's the different areas under meals, lodging, transportation, motor fuel, and all those others. Actually, this is a small total for the size of school district that we have that we make reimbursements to our board members. So I like, this shows our board members are very conservative in the traveling that they do. The third disclosure deals with if there was any outside compensation and or fees received by the superintendent for any type of professional consulting or other personnel services in the fiscal year 14-15. We have none to report in that disclosure. Under disclosure 4, we have to report any gifts that were received by the executive officers and board members and first degree relatives, if any, in the fiscal year 14-15, and we have none to report there. And the final disclosure deals with if there was any business transactions between the school district and board members for fiscal year 2014, for fiscal year 2014-15, and there is none to report there. And those are the disclosures that we have to report. Schools First is getting complicated. As we read through the questions, they get a little more complicated. They deal more in the accounting role into the government accounting. But I'll be happy to answer any questions or comments that anyone may have from the public concerning this report.
How many years have we been doing this?
This is the 12th one.
You've always got it. Nothing but the highest rating.
Yes, we have. Our school district has done well.
This is the 12th one you just said?
Yes.
If I recall correctly, in the 11 previous ones, not a single person came up to speak, right?
Yes.
So let's see how we do tonight.
Yeah.
Does any member of the public have any comments with respect to the financial integrity rating system report? And I say it jokingly, but that's just a testament, Peggy, obviously, to the good job that you've been doing and your staff. And, yeah, it's something we definitely take for granted around here. Definitely good job to you and your staff. Does anyone from the public have any comments? Board members have any questions or comments?
No, I just want to add to what you said. I think Peggy and her staff have always done a fantastic, outstanding job. And we so much appreciate the work that you guys do. I know it gets more complicated every year, but we definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, and I'll definitely share that with the staff because they do a great job on that.
And Adidas sweat just broke out on page one on his forehead.
Just whisper quit or something like that.
That was part of the intent.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that we would possibly go into closed session at 7 p.m. to conduct a level 3 agreements hearing. Mr. Raper, I know that you're here. Correct. Do you have any objection to getting that started about 6:45 instead? That's fine. Is that okay with you? Yes. Administration, would that be okay? So in light of that, so we did have a natural break just before that. So let's go ahead and we'll do a report on board advocacy. This is an opportunity for board members to share with each other as well as members of the public anything unusual they may have been involved in over the past month or anything going on around the district that you thought would be of interest to the rest of us. So start down here, Mr. Career.
This month I had the opportunity to go to the Health Science Technology Open House and I guess experience and kind of get an understanding of what they're all about. And first of all, I want to say commend Mr. Holmes back there for the program. I will tell you, my daughter's in the program and I didn't really know what it was about. But once you go there, they had the instructors from both Clemens and Still there. I'm telling you, you can never find a more motivated group of instructors. Their enthusiasm for what they do and the amount of knowledge and background that they come with the job. They're not just career teachers. So many of them had nursing and military medical careers prior to becoming teachers. And I'm going to just tell you, I'm very, very impressed with the whole program. And I think it's just a wonderful thing. And I hope that it continues to expand in the future. So.
I attended the Clemens National Honor Society induction. That was a great ceremony. Also, I got to see Mr. Holmes also at the Ag Fair. Learned a little bit how to tell the difference between a hen and a male chicken and a female chicken. Whatever. I tell the difference once they get older.
It becomes different for the hen.
It's something like whatever that thing underneath the neck in a crown or something like that. Mr. Pruski, am I right? You're from the country. I do in the first place, a hen? Yeah, hen, something. I knew it when I went there. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I know it when I see it. I had a great time. Thank you, Mr. Holmes and the Ag Fair.
Mr. Buteau.
How do you follow that? I was, let's see, I do my normal Tuesday lunchtime watchdogging at Green Valley Elementary School. That's a great time. I deal with third graders and kindergartners mainly, and there's not much difference, actually. But it's a great time. I enjoy that every week. And also, as Robert, I was able to attend the Ag Fair with, I had a special date that day, Ms. Cooper Pivoteau. And I want to thank Mr. Holmes for greeting us and welcoming us to the program. It was great. I hadn't been out there. I didn't go last year. I've gone every year except I didn't get to go last year. And I was so glad to be able to go back again this year. It was very nice to see. I was sorry I missed Dr. Gibson running with the dog, but I did get to see the video. It was just as bad as probably as it was in real life. So. Oh, Mr. I didn't see that. Sorry. Oh, gosh. Anyway, but also I got to attend the Education Foundation fundraiser, and I want to thank the other board members and staff members who attended as well. The Education Foundation is a great organization, and we definitely need support to help our teachers in the school district. I think that's about it. Thank you.
Mr. Perkins.
I I too got the opportunity to go to the Ag Fair. Dr. Edwards and I were quizzed, well, we weren't quizzed, we got to watch kids get quizzed on the definition of 4-H. And I was a member of 4-H 35, 40 some odd years ago, and I still don't know that I can recall the definition of 4-H, but it was a great opportunity. We commented afterwards that some of those kids, that'll be the one time they see live animals like that. They don't really come at HEB. You get them at HEB, but that's not where they're raised. You told us to come up with some weird or strange things, and I got at the awards banquet for the chamber on Saturday. There were some high accolades for Mr. Krusky for making that presentation 30 some odd times, and so I thought that was kind of strange, and I would bring that. But they were very pleased with the results and very pleased with your presentations and how that's helped spread the word. And I have been given the opportunity to be on the board of communities in schools. So last week I got an orientation, and this morning I had the first board meeting, and very similar feeling to my first couple of board meetings here. I may have, at first thought I may have overstepped my bounds, but I'm sure I'll be okay and I'll be able to swim. I'm looking forward to being involved with communities and schools and bringing that benefit to students throughout from all in Guadalupe County.
Dr. Gibson, you have anything to add? Mark, I just don't put you on the spot here. But, we were just talking about anything that you may have participated in or attended over the past month that you'd like to share with the board.
Sure. Thank you, President Emmett. How come I put me right on the board? Obviously, tossed a coin at the Steel Clemens football game. What an honor and what an excitement to do that with, I guess it was Major General, somebody from Randolph Air Force Base. That was a lot of fun. She was a really nice contact for us to have. It was a pleasure. Went to a couple other games and stuff in the community stuff, and then attended the Veterans Day program. That was it for this week.
Let's add a few things real quick. Got to attend, it wasn't a grand opening, but just kind of a walkthrough of the swimming pool several weeks ago. And I think the latest word is it's going to open, probably be safe to just say the start of the new year, right? I mean, with any luck, maybe the latter part of December, but I think they're shooting for the first part of the new year. And it's a good looking facility on the inside, no water in there so far, but it's going to be a pretty good sized pool. So you're looking forward to that. Some of us also attended, get the exact name, the best workplaces in San Antonio, reception, awards dinner, whatnot down at downtown. And it looks like we were one of the only two school districts in the area to be awarded that. And I see Dr. Edwards has his pin on. So what is the official name?
Top workplace down here, or top workplace.
Top workplace. So top workplace in the San Antonio area. And again, being one of two school districts, and I know we have issues just like anybody else does, but I think that's something that we really ought to be proud of, that we get something like that we can then use to sell, or encourage other employees to come to our district, and helps our employment pool for the most part. The other thing, I know the city of Schertz passed this out this week, but Schertz was named one of the top places to live in the state of Texas, and one of the reasons they gave for that was that we had excellent public schools, and good school systems. So always proud when we see things like that in the newspaper. So, anything else, Dr. Gibson, on that note? So, all right. Other than Mr. Moore, do we have anybody else in the audience who's here for a particular agenda item later on tonight? Mr. Moore, maybe it. Okay. All right. So at this time, the board is going to go into closed session. Pursuant to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.0821, deliberation of a matter regarding a public school student. We're also going into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, deliberation of a complaint or charge against an officer or an employee, as well as 551.071, which is consultation with our legal counsel. We are going to meet with the legal counsel first, and then we were going to conduct a level 3 grievance hearing. My guess is this may have taken an hour, So Dr. Gibson, I guess you can deal with the staff and who needs to stay, but I'm going to guess, this estimate will probably be out of closed session about 8 o'clock. We'll make a decision in public session, and then we'll carry on with the agenda. So we're going to do the closed session in here, so I'll have to ask everyone to move themselves in the room. Board's now back on the record in open session, having returned from closed session to conduct a level 3 grievance hearing. The time is now 8:53 p.m. Does any board member have a motion regarding the appeal of the grievance presented by Mr. Rayford?
I move to deny the level 3 appeal of the grievance filed by Mr. Rayford, and I further move that the board deny the request for remedy.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, any opposed? Okay, so that motion passes unanimously, and the level 3 grievance appeal is denied. That ends the formal part of the grievance hearing. I do want to say, Mr. Rayford, that we appreciate you coming here tonight and bringing some of those concerns to our attention, and there are some things that we will address with the administration. All right, just want to let you know that.
Okay.
All right, thanks, sir. All right, that does conclude the level 3 grievance hearing. We'll go on with our agenda at this time. New business, report on the update on the district scorecard.
Well, one, and I'm going to offer a couple of options here. Item number 1, we can handle the board update. We can actually do all of these discussion items by board update if the board wants to do that, just to the hour, and then just go to the couple of items that the architects are here for, the consent items, and the one action item. That's actually all the mission critical business that's left here. So that's up to the board.
All right, another request from Mr. Pipito to take a break here. Let's get some good news in here. Before we do that, can we do board item number 2, update on the SCUCISD bond election?
Yes, I think at your place setting, there is an unofficial so it's a very brief document, unofficial results. From Guadalupe County, there were 18,553 votes for, 5,673 votes against, for a total of 24,226 votes. Bexar County, 2,155 votes for, 706 votes against, for a total of 2,861. And then those combined, which was 20,000 votes for and 6,000 votes against, which is a 76 to 24% margin. Again, for the unofficial results. Friday, we'll have the official results from both parties, and I think we have several board members that have indicated they can be here at 10 a.m. on Friday morning to officially canvass the votes for our bond election. But 76% is a pretty wide margin. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, so I just want to say, that letter go ahead that we did, our joint letter.
Yes, it is.
Just, and I can't recall exactly specific numbers on our previous bonds, but that is a wide margin for any bond. I think in the state of Texas, I don't know if I've seen too many that had a more favorable approval than that. And especially considering the fact that we didn't have any, political action committee or anybody else like that out there knocking on doors or, selling this. I'd hate to say this margin is distributable primarily to Mr. Wayne Brewski. But I guess that's that in addition to the fact that you guys are doing a great job across the board. And I think that does show a lot of confidence. Community that not only truly supports our schools, but I think they have a reason to support our schools, and just a lot of good faith and confidence in the work that you guys do every day. That's definitely a reflection of that. All I ever heard was relatively good news out there. Our community does support our schools and support the work that you guys do every day, so we certainly appreciate that. So let's give a hand to Wayne Brewski. Not a day goes by now he doesn't request to do a presentation on something somewhere. He just loves the attention.
Bond 2019.
He's already asking about the future bond. All right. Anything further on the bond from board members or anything you'd like to add?
Just confirmed on Friday, I think Mr. Wilson, you said you could make it Vivito and Perkins may actually have a quorum, which is not necessary, but we may have a quorum, and it's been posted. That's according to law, in accordance with law.
All right, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and we'll take a 7-minute recess and we'll come back in the session at 9:05. Okay, thanks. All right, let's press on. It's 9:05, back on the record, so to speak. With the board's consent, we're going to go ahead and skip over the report on the update on district scorecard. If everyone's okay with that. Any other objection? All right, otherwise, we're moving on to number 3, report management fees under certain cooperative purchasing contracts. Mr. Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board and Dr. Gibson. This is an annual requirement required by the Education Code to present to the board those cooperative purchasing contracts we have, which have a fee incurred by the district. We're happy to report that this year our fees have been greatly reduced because one of the cooperatives, the Region 2013 Purchase Cooperative, has passed those fees on to the vendors so that the members themselves don't pay. In a sense, they do pay money to buy their product. However, it's less out of pocket directly for us. This is a report item.
All right, any questions on that? All right. Next item is report on November 2016 construction update. Mr. Brewski and Mr. Moses. With all that training you've had, we expect this one to be better than usual.
Go along those lines, Mr. Inman, there's also great thanks goes to Dr. Gibson for setting that up as well as the rest of Team 1, some of the directors in this room that attended a lot of those meetings as well. And without their support with the campuses and departments, some of this would not have gone as smoothly and as I think as nicely. So I just want to make sure congratulations goes to all of us here tonight as well to help out on that. Construction report for this month is we are, it's not officially, but we're pretty close to officially being complete and done. We're looking at finally for Dobie, I'm going to go for quickness here, if that's okay with the board, save you the hassle of seeing the same slides again. I'm tired of them as well. So basically at Dobie, we're looking at striping the new portion of the parking lot that was a construction laydown, moving into the final aspect phase, and that being the admin suite upstairs and downstairs, and then they are operational. So that we're looking at that within the next week. Thank you.
This is the Dobie report.
That's it.
Let me just ask this. I mean, I hate to even go here, but I have no idea what she's talking about. Some lady put something on Facebook today about us chopping down some oak tree. Dobie, do you have any idea what that means?
Yes, sir.
I hate to even ask, but I have no idea what I just asked about.
There was a tree, it was not an oak, it was a crepe myrtle, old crepe myrtle that split, and it was near the front entry, and it was continually splitting, and it was about to snap. So we were going to try to save it. You asked. We were going to try to save it and just cut off one of the branches that was the main trunk, but then we realized that was not going to be advantageous, so we had to take the whole tree out.
Okay. Okay with that? Okay. You just had to ask it. Just something's close.
I got a crepe myrtle in front of my house you can have if you need one.
I know that crepe myrtle. There was a
Sure.
time capsule buried under that.
Was it really? Would you like to come show us where it is? No? Okay, sorry.
I was a young man in those days, and I'm not anymore. I didn't know I did this things and all that.
Kind of remember a little bit of
Are y'all being serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a time capsule at the flagpole,
Yes. Yeah.
and the flagpole didn't get disturbed.
Yeah, this was further.
Between the flagpole and the crepe myrtle.
Okay.
somewhere.
It's not at that tree.
Now I've got that out of the way. First time, Mr. Speaker. Are you done?
That's the construction report.
Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, very good. All right, next item, discussion, consider matters relating to the issuance and sale of a limited tax school building qualified school construction bond. Ms. Skinny.
Dwayne Westerman will be at the board meeting, and we will be coming and asking the board to go ahead and sell the bonds from the 2016 bond election. And we'll proceed in the same manner as we have proceeded in the past, where Mr. Westerman will be asking the board for the approval to let Dr. Gibson and myself proceed with that. And we will go ahead and try to price the bonds and get it going so that by February 8th, we will have the plan in hand. He's also provided us a timeline of how all of this will work, and I think that should be in the board's packet. So, any questions?
It's on page 48. Anything else, Coach?
Peggy, do we anticipate making one sale or two sales?
At the current time, we're anticipating making one sale. Mr. Westerman feels that we'll be able to have the tax rate at 45 cents, as we said during the election. So that's what we're anticipating at this time, just making one sale with the whole 137.
All right, you gonna do this next one, Wayne? Yes, sir. So discussion of final design, Samuel Clemens High School renovations and additions. Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, sir. This evening, we'd like to bring the Clemens High School addition and renovation as an update of design of where we are. I would like to preface the presentation with, while another action was going on in here, we were actually doing even more designing, so some of this is even evolving as we're speaking now. So it's anticipating, I'm serious, the last hour in my office, we had the whole design team in there. But we're looking at stuff and things are changing, and wanted to kind of go over some of the high points of this. I'm not going to dive into a lot of the minutia, so to speak, but to bring the board up to speed as to where we're going, and then also possibly doing the same thing now we're looking at with the timeline. I may be bringing this to you again to keep you apprised next month as well. Again, here it is, the start, Clemens' existing site. I think we're familiar with that now. I want to draw the attention now to one of the major changes that has come to light in investigating this and through design and looking at efficiencies. We were talking about, if you recall, this is the existing auditorium area and bringing it and replacing that void with a new wing of classrooms in place. In doing that, there is some very costly, we have since learned, some very costly measures that would have to go in there, namely placing a crane at a strategic location in order to bring materials into that area to build that building inside there. So another option which has been brought forth, and I'm going to share with the board today, is taking this, basically essentially this block, and bringing it out to the front and intertwining it to the new admin wing addition up in this area. So this is a less costly, that's more easily to be reached, and we can then repurpose this area. I'll have a mock-up of that, of what we're talking about there. So that's a major change that we'll get to. So this was what was shared at last month's meeting. This is that new wing in the auditorium area that is now not being considered. This has become an open courtyard. Again, this is the front. I'm just going to orient because we're going to have these pictures here for a couple of slides. This is the new practice gym, the new inside entry into the new auditorium, the new locker room space downstairs, and then choir and dance upstairs. And then swinging around towards the back, the west, the new CTE Career Technology Building, because we're knocking down the existing career technology buildings to make this space available for us. And then having the new front entry, and then also now just take into account this area being placed out to the front of the building next to the administration area. So what I was just talking about, here's the new rendering, and what you can see now is the void from the auditorium becoming a courtyard space, outdoor seating. We're kind of tight in there. If you recall, if you've been at Clemens lately, you've got the oak tree, you've got a small little courtyard, not a lot of seating. This would open it up for more flexible use for outdoor seating, outdoor venues, having some space then to have the lunch periods, be supportive, and have, since on this bond program, we're not addressing the seating in the dining center, where we can have some flexibility out here. They really didn't have a covered courtyard, and this has always been kind of a concern of campus admin and campus leadership of like, we need space for people outside to eat so that we can have some room. So we're thinking this is a win-win for both now and in the future. And then this gray area here is that wing that would have been placed inside. So it just kind of runs and attaches to this admin wing where the counselors are on the right and administration and support on the left. This would be the classrooms and the ROTC component areas here. So it kind of gives you a view of what I was talking about on that earlier slide. So this is the major change that I wanted to bring to light today. So front door, again, the gym, locker room, choir, dance, auditorium, back around the new CTE, and then the total new addition to the front. This is the existing line. The existing front door is about right where the cursor is. So this is the existing building wall, and then this would all be new in the gray area here.
And this all includes new parking. You go back to the big schematic of the whole campus, and then are we looking at additional parking?
Yes, starting in the upper right quadrant back here behind the stadium for a parking area, and then also to the front along L-Bell towards Schertz Parkway. What we're dealing with here, this is another thing that we have to be careful of, is our impervious cover, meaning we need green space. Now, Clemens has been platted, not to go into the boring details of land and platting and whatnot, but the whole site is not platted as one plat. It's actually three. Yeah, you can basically take it, you have the stadium, you have the campus, and you have the baseball field side. So if you split it into thirds, sorry, you can't see what my hands are doing, but if you split this into thirds, you can kind of see we have an asphalt island in the middle, and then we have a stadium around the backside, and then the baseball field to the west. We're looking at seeing it with replatting purpose. It's currently 3 plats, and we would not pass on the impervious cover. We're looking to go to the 1 plat to where we can add future parking as much as we can. So we're working that process right now as we're going through this as well. So to answer your question, we're looking at adding parking. Those are the gray areas shown at the lower left and the upper right.
Yeah, I think, so not the baseball field, but all the surrounding grass there, we don't use any of that for school purposes, do we?
This is a public, well, this is our property, but basically it is used for overflow. ROTC can go out there as far as campus, as far as other programs, but it is mostly used for the community use.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen YMCA, BUA, soccer, football, I see everybody else, but I haven't seen any of the actual school use in years.
And we have to be careful not to add too much impervious cover, concrete, asphalt, etc., onto this green space. So we're trying to be very strategic in the areas that we're choosing, going back to the 1 plat process, if we can get it to the 1 plat.
Just so I'm aware, what is the requirement for the impervious cover? I mean, I don't need a technical.
It's square foot per acre. I can bring that information to you.
Just roughly. Just saying that we have to have a certain percentage per acre.
Yes, sir.
Was there ever, was there ever consideration of going up, like a garage or?
Just a while ago.
The problem with going up, it's a great idea for such a small property to go vertical, but then we're going to start losing dollars that are going into the school for curriculum-based functions. So we're trying to ferret that out.
Okay, thank you.
And that was not being facetious. We were just talking. We're looking at all aspects, yes, sir. We're looking at outside the box and other areas, and actually even talking about other ways of handling.
Well, let me ask you, when you talk about this impervious cover, is that a city requirement? Who makes that requirement?
That is a federal.
It filters down from the federal government.
The federal government for stormwater flow, and in a flood area, they are very sensitive.
So I guess the point I was going to make is we can't work some deal with the city because now they got the pool there. I mean, I know the library parking, the YMCA is packed sometimes. If we use some of their parking lot during the day, then we put a big old parking lot over there to the left, and then the city can use that as well for the library and YMCA. I mean, it's really not a local decision, it's federal law, and it's,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it comes directly from the U.S. waters, which governs how the water migrates from each individual property all the way back down to the coast. So it has to do with how much and how fast the flow is coming off of our properties.
sure.
Just out of curiosity, just since we're talking about it, how does somewhere like a Walmart or an Amazon just have concrete the whole property? How's that different?
In different municipalities, there's what's called fee in lieu of. When you're in a large metropolitan area, they'll do a fee in lieu of the retention or the area that way. I'm not sure that we fall into that category, knowing that the city is going to look at that big green space on the left-hand side and say, you had green space, why are we going to go?
Well, that HEB parking lot and that complex is obviously bigger than this, I would think.
Yeah, and they also have detention ponds on the property in order to handle that. And right now, we don't have to pay for those.
That was my question. Are we exempt from the retention pond because of the drainage behind it?
You don't want to retain, you just want to detain, or you want to slow it. You want to slow it down to get it off. And the big flow line on the backside of the property, Mr. Pito, is actually in our benefit. We're able to slow the water down going off the north end of the property. We're still looking at it right now as we go into the city negotiations for a permit.
Yeah, because I know the last several schools we've built, we've had to build on detention ponds on the side. So,
and if I may add, the city is well aware of our intent of trying to manipulate the property where we can best place some parking for additional use, because they know as we increase the capacity of this campus and the events that can happen on here, they know what we're trying to do as well, even with our constant communication, especially like during football season when we're sharing parking spaces at the Civic Center and whatnot. So they know what we're up against.
The only other thing I'd heard over the past month was just trying to make it consistent, the new exterior consistent with the current exterior, I guess brick color or whatnot. I guess that's probably practically impossible, right? As old as that structure is.
It sounds like you were in our meeting. The existing brick now at the Clemens campus comes from a quarry long ago, back when they were building it in Mexico. Trying to match it would probably be utmost as impossible. So we are looking at options that are available to us. Some of that being flagstone, some of that being brick, some of that being units. We're looking at the options on that. We're sensitive to what we're looking at, whether it's the same family or whether we show a new kind of a contrast. So that will be shared as well as we get through this. And I think you're going to see a slide kind of showing that. So if I may, I'll try to get through these. I wanted, since you brought it up. So this is the existing of Clemens. And then this is kind of a new concept for the front. Again, the prominent entry. And then to the right, this is the counseling addition. If you go back to, this is this piece. This is counseling side. And then this would be that new wing, the two-story addition with admin on the bottom, and then classrooms on top, and then dropping down, and then classrooms also going both ways. What we're showing here is this is a concept of what the exterior could look like. Mr. Inman, you were talking about color scheme. So this is one where in the back you can see kind of a rendition of what's existing, and then what the idea is to kind of tie in to show the newness of the campus. So this was one concept of what we were leaning towards, along with trying to do something here with windows. We're not done with this window schematic. We're going to try to bring this. We're going to try to see what really works better for the campus, what the flow is, what the look is better, what the look is for the campus, whether we keep the old, if you look in the back, we have the old vertical windows, and we try to make them a little bigger so there's more sunlight for these areas on the west of the door, and then on this right side, incorporating single-story, larger windows here. So we're looking at bringing this over to the left, or what options we have there as well. So this is the most recent one that we had. That kind of ties in a little bit. For the sake of speed, gym, the front door, the auditorium, and then the career and technology building. On this side, this is the east side. This is facing the stadium, basically the stadium parking lot and the stadium. The new auxiliary gym addition. Coming down, you have the event entrance here with a stairwell to go up to the second floor. Coming in these doors, if you go left, you're in the athletic portion of the building. If you go right, you're into the auditorium side. So this kind of gives you a glimpse of that area. We've seen that before. Again, this is on that east side of the campus. That's the picture side that I showed you there. Farther away kind of gives you a better idea of the magnitude of what we're talking about there with the addition. The career technology building in the back. The colors, don't pay too much attention to the dark browns. These are going to be addressed as well to more of the, kind of like what I was talking about before, whether we go to as close as we can match to where it shows that we tried, or do we do a contrast that shows it new. Gives you the idea of the look and feel of the CTE building. And then these are the connectors. One of the other changes that occurred when we took out the auditorium and made it a courtyard, this connector up front, basically the courtyard that we're talking about is over here. This connector is now gone away, and we're left with one connector here. So this will be updated to reflect that, but there's no connector per se in this area any longer. So that one's gone. Whoops. And we still have this one connector that'll fill in here. You'll still have foot traffic, and we'll still have this, but we'll have that connector still shown to help with student circulation. Again, stairwell entrance, our enclosed stairwell on the west side. This is basically facing the baseball field. That's this piece. And I think on the auditorium, we'll be getting more detail on this as far as some pictures and stuff on the court as far as internal. But we're using a major seating area, same size, plus or minus 6 seats, I believe, less actually than steel. But inside this space, we have a classroom, we have some office space, some storage spaces in red. Now we have a black box, which Clemens does not currently have. Dressing rooms, some set areas for the stage, and then here's your stage area. The Career Technology Building, as you've seen before, the T entrance, we've got 3 classrooms, a welding lab, a woodworking lab, a STEM lab, small animal lab, and floral lab. The greenhouse, which is by the beer gym, would be relocated to the back side of the Career Technology Building. Culinary arts, this would be inside into the new renovated area of the auxiliary gym, current auxiliary gym. So we are working on this and trying to get the details of that. This front end here would be the seating and kind of the bistro area, and then all the work happening in here, the preparation, the storage, the cold storage, the pantry, everything that goes into that culinary curriculum. So we're looking at finalizing that pretty close on, I believe, with that part. Again, that's this internal area to the auxiliary gym. The new locker rooms on the downstairs. So again, this is the entry facing the stadium is to our right. We come inside here, going up to the top would be to the auditorium, down to the right is athletics. And as you come around into the circulation, you have locker rooms and for boys and girls, restrooms, concession stands as well. And then this will alleviate some of the strains on the athletic programs. Above this is the choir and dance. Sorry, when I was thinking, this is the new auxiliary gym. Very minimum seating, kind of just a shell of the gym, and then having a small seating area for freshmen and JV, if that as it's used now. HOSA classrooms, so we're dealing with the career technology. We're going to have 3 HOSA classrooms with a shared lab, basically a hospital lab, and then some combination labs for forensic science, as well as HOSA and science areas. There's a justice lab as well into this section here. The Concept also is now to have remote admin throughout the building, so this is just a snapshot of a floor plan. These will be placed throughout the campus to help with supervision as well as basically throughout the building for security and supervision purposes. You'll have 2 offices, a shared conference room, and then a waiting area. So it's taking the steel concept and condensing it a little more to use, because we don't have the openness that steel has, but we have the footprint of what we're dealing with. We have to make the best that we can, and we feel that this would be a good answer to that aspect. Proposed schedule. Here recently, we're at the November 15th discussion. The December 13th action is actually, and this will come up, I think, at the end of this section of the meeting. We're actually going to have that December action final be in January. We're going to push the schedule down a month. We've got some things from as you heard at the onset, that we're still working out, and we're looking now at presenting to you in December again as an update, and then January going for action on the final design, and then the rest of this schedule falls through from March, April, and then actually having a contract award in April to the board if all goes well, and then noticing to proceed in May. Our original schedule had notice to proceed in April, but with this, there's a less impact on the front end of campuses. We can get some testing done, and then in May we can get started. That's the end of the presentation here, so if you have to entertain any questions.
So in December, so we're not going to be doing the action.
No, sir, I didn't have a chance, I didn't have time to change
In
this.
December, are you going to then bring back
It'll be another update
Oh, another
to some of the big
conversation.
pieces, and then in January, there'll be a new line in there for probably in December for January for action.
Any questions? Sure.
We have federal and state LEED standards that we have to meet and maintain, right?
LEED,
Like,
the lighting standards,
and the amount of window space.
and that is all
Some-
being, not all. We are not going for LEED certification, but we are following the LEED guidelines for the principles for daylights.
And the new building code and energy code require more stringent, that are closer to LEED applications. It depends, you're getting a LEED building without having to go through the LEED certified process the way that we're doing it right now. So you're not having to pay for the maintenance or the certification, but you're getting a energy efficient building.
Right, and there are some minimum standards, whether you're going for LEED or not, that you have to. We have to.
That's building code, yes sir. A new building code has encapsulated a bunch of those into it.
Any further? All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, next item for discussion, solicitation for Rose Garden Elementary School replacement campus. Mr. Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and Dr. Gibson. Request for competitive proposals has been prepared for the Rose Garden Elementary School replacement campus. A pre-proposal meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. this Thursday morning here in our board room. A bid opening date has been tentatively scheduled for December 6th at 2 p.m. After evaluations, it's our intent to bring a recommendation to the board on December 13th.
Any questions on that? Seeing none, thanks. Next item, discussion conveyance of right-of-way utility easements for Dobie Junior High. Mr. Rivera.
Well, just be brief, Mr. Christie and I had a discussion about this. This has been outstanding for a little while, the city of Cibolo, and us trying to come to an agreement. However, this is just my way of reminder and to bring the board up to date. Last summer, the board passed a resolution for cost sharing of Workville Road improvements, and that including a 500 road, drainage improvements, etc., and that the district would dedicate a right-of-way for the widening of Workville Road, the length of the Dobie Middle School property. Now, our civil engineers reviewed the property. We've had initial discussions with the city, their engineering, and DVEC. And based on that conversation we've had, we see that both easements would end up being conveyed to the city, who in turn would convey the utility easement over to DVEC. This is just to keep it on your radar. We haven't finalized the fees yet, and we're still working closely and regularly with the city of Civil to try to come to a final resolution on that agreement. Comments, Ricky, do you want to add anything?
Mentioned that earlier, so for number 7, that's not going to be an action item next month either, correct? And then number 8 looks like it won't be either.
The right-of-way won't be an action item. Rose Garden should be.
Rose Garden should be
An action item for December?
Yes, sir, December 13th.
All right. Next item, number 9, is discussion expenditure projection plan project, operations building, Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. The item we have in front of you is, I believe it's our first item coming out of our EPP plan. The item is in general, is building a metal storage building behind our maintenance warehouse. It serves 2 purposes. The first purpose being to help us be more effective and efficient in our daily activities. As the district has grown and we've grown as a department, we were basically storing things in any space that we can find. So it's kind of like in your garage at home, we'll have an empty garage, so you get to a tool you need at this point. So, that's not as effective and efficient as we'd like to be. So that's the first piece of the purpose. The second piece is that it will allow us to provide a space for the Clemens welding class during the renovation of that area of Clemens. So, in general, the Clemens welding class will be able to come over and use an existing building we have now that we can move one of our divisions out of, and then when that part of the building Clemens is done, the kids can go back into their new area, and we'll be able to expand into that new building at that point. So, schedule-wise, you kind of saw Mr. Britsky's schedule a little while ago about contract award in April, so we're shooting for that same area of us having this building completed in April so that we can start doing the moves and being prepared for those first phases to begin in May, and April will be knocking down some of those buildings. The budget for this again came from the APP, the budget amendment for our APP. Estimated project cost is at $155,000.
All right, any question on that? Seeing none. Next item, number 10, discussion and solicitation to provide consultant services for property value studies, appeals, and audit services. Mr. Rivera.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Gibson. Since 1999, we've had Dr. Tabusi providing consultant services for our property value studies, appeals, and audit services with the state tax on our behalf. He's done an excellent job. However, he wants to do something else. He wants to retire. So we now need to go out and find someone, hopefully as qualified as he. So we're issuing a solicitation to prepare, select another consultant firm for those services. They're going to represent our district in any appeal that there may be for the comptroller or public accounts annual property value study, and in submitting requests to the Texas Comptroller Public Accounts for audit of the district's taxable property value as provided under the Texas Government Code, beginning with the property value study and audit request for the prior tax year. The bottom line is the contractor is going to be expected to work to secure as much additional state aid to our district as possible. This is a good thing.
All right, any questions? No. All right. Next item, number 11, discussion solicitation for HVAC renovations for Watts Elementary, Wilder Intermediate, and Jordan Intermediate. Mr. Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President. The HVAC renovation project is one of those key items on the 2016 bond measure. Bid documents and plans are being ready for issuance to the market this week. Bid opening has been tentatively scheduled for December 13th at 2 p.m.
Okay. Any questions?
We'll bring back this to the board in January.
Now that you brought it up, let's go back through. So we're done with item number 11. Let's go back through this and see which ones are coming back for action items in December. And I believe number 5 would be, I believe number 7 would be, any others?
With Dwayne on number 5, okay, that's a yes. You said no on 6.
6 would probably be another discussion.
Right, update 7.
7 is December.
That's a yes.
Yes, sir.
8. I don't anticipate 8 because just not yet.
Okay. Maybe, or
consent for that. The discussion will come back with solicitation for that.
So you're ready for it to go as an action item?
It's ready for an action item for design for next month.
Next month's 9, and then 10, you're ready for an action item on Dr. Lucy's.
Well, for that, those consultant services, it's our aim to have that for December 13th.
So December, okay? And then the HVAC, ready for action?
That is not going to be coming back until the January, February timeframe.
So number 5, number 7, number 9, and number 10.
Yes, sir.
And a few of those, I don't think would necessarily be appropriate for consent, because we actually haven't talked about the substance. The one for Dr. Cabusi's replacement, just, those may be better as separate action items.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Which one do you want to, so the bond, do you want the Dwayne's coming, so that would be
Discussion and action.
right, non-consent. And then number 7, the Rose Garden.
Yeah, let's do those. Discussion and action.
Okay. And then the EPP, the building. More discussion on that. Question is, everybody okay with consent?
That makes sense, we've already talked about it enough. So we'll put that in consent.
Building is consent, and then Cabusi. Okay. And then the HVAC. Oh, sorry, I'm not reading all right.
Okay, again, sorry, just so we can kind of clarify that, so again, so we'll have a few of these as action items, a few of these we consent, and then if any board member has a particular question about any item, you can always hold on that in our next meeting. All right? Okay, having said that, let's go on to the consent agenda, which is item B, page 62. Does anyone have any item they would like to pull for individual consideration? Now, do we have a motion on the consent agenda items? Mr. Perkins.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda items as presented.
I second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, action items under C, request for board approval, ratification of purchase of PSAT, NMSQT, and SAT exams from the College Board. Mr. Rivera.
Mr. President, our board policy, CH local, states that purchases of goods or services that cost $50,000 or more, regardless of whether the goods or services are competitively purchased, shall require board approval before a transaction may take place, except as otherwise provided in that policy, and that's what the board allows us to use purchasing co-ops or previously approved board contracts to make those purchases, and we report those the following on that purchase is made. In this case, however, a requisition was input and by the end user, and it was approved by our department mistakenly before getting the board's approval for this action. It's an otherwise legal action, it is a requirement, and we celebrate some success tonight. However, we did not follow our board policy. They are a sole source, and we've attached a copy of the typical source review that we do before we designate someone as a sole source college board for what they provide. This is just to let you know that this coming year we may do the same thing based on our success that we've had this year in talking with SAS department. It's been a very successful year. We've increased our exams, and that increased our prices from previous years.
Any question on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Puberto?
what exactly happened here?
What we should have done was brought this before the board before we actually made the purchase.
Because it's over $50,000.
Yes,
So the purchase has already been made.
the purchase order has already been sent.
Purchase order.
I got a quick question. You said that you may do it again next year? Was that just you're gonna buy the policy again next year, or you're just gonna go over the price again next year?
That is,
These
if it's
materials-
successful, then we would bring it back again to the board, because we believe in its aggregate, it's going to go over.
I understand that the way Matt said it.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sorry
kind of
about
funny to me, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that it's clear. That your weren't intention was to violate the policy again, or go against the program, you just meant that if it was successful, you'd be bringing it back to us.
You're right, sir.
Okay.
And we only cross the street when we see the green light that says go and you can walk. So following the rules is very important to us, as we'd like to do. However, we made a mistake in this case, and we want this to go by. However, they are sole source. Next year, you'll see them come back before the board as a report. You'll see what the potential is on it.
All right, any questions on that? If not, do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees ratify the purchase from the College Board in the amount of $65,109 and authorize such future purchases from the College Board until such time as they are no longer the sole source of the exams.
I second.
Motion and second, all those, well, before we go on to that, any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. We now have the closed session portion of the meeting. To my understanding, we're not going to be discussing anything under item B for obtaining real property, is that correct? Okay, so we can scratch that. As far as the personnel report goes, Ms. Cannon's going to pass that out. I'd ask if each board member take a look. If there's no need to go into closed session, we can go ahead and vote on that here in a second. If any board member has any particular questions about any particular employee, we can always go into closed session to discuss. Anyone have any reason to go into closed session? Seeing none, so the resignations and retirements, those automatically occur. With respect to the three folks listed down here for employment of contractual personnel, we'll go to the open session action items, and Ms. Cannon, do you have a recommendation for the board?
These positions will be funded from the school year 2016-2017 general operating budget, and they are replacing and filling new budgeted positions for the 16-17 school year.
We have a motion on that item.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the employment list as presented at contractual personnel for the 2016-2017 school year.
I second.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes our action items. Mr. Peterdo, do you have a calendar to review for next month's meeting?
Yes, sir. December 13th, we have our normal monthly, well, not normal monthly things, but monthly things we do usually every month. And then we have a public hearing for TAPR, which is an annual item, another annual item status of continuing education training credit for board members. We also have superintendent's evaluation for a board effectiveness audit, and that is the formative evaluation of the superintendent. And then 2017-2018 school calendar, review of initial estimated budget projects for 2017-2018 budget development process, 2015-2016 fiscal audit, approval of 2015-2016 fiscal audit, and then other agenda items, we have a roof replacement school-based health clinic. It's located in Schertz Elementary, construction management software, and bond sales with Mr. Western. It would be Dwyer. I'll get them mixed up, it doesn't matter. No, I get the way it's out, and I call the way Mr. Western. I just say Mr. Western.
As far as items here over the course of the next month, Dee Dee, do you have the deadline to get the self-audit turned in?
November 27th is what I sent out.
So, that's been sent out to everyone, so self-audit, the deadline deadline will be November 27th, and I think today we've had 2 trustees submit the response.
As of yesterday, two trustees had some.
Just want to give you guys a word. We'll follow up here next week or so. Make sure everyone's getting those turned in.
What is it due?
November 27th. So we
You
can make
have
it
through
26th, midnight. All right.
Might just do
We'll
it
follow up.
28, but it's gonna get in.
And we're also having the team building session with Dr. Jeff Bullhorn on December 9th.
December 6th.
6th. December 6th. For that, any other major events taking place?
We have a call meeting on December 8th. It's the combined community advisory committee meeting. It's our annual meeting.
On November 22nd, the Cibolo City Council meeting at 6:30 p.m. And then December 6th, 6:30 p.m., City of Universal City Council meeting, and then 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, December 8th, Delano City Council. And then on the 13th, at the Tri-County Chamber, our regular board meeting at 6 p.m. The Tri-County Chambers, it's 11:30 a.m. Church City Council meeting that same evening at 6 p.m. And Cibolo City Council meeting that same evening at 6
You guys would like November to see when the Schertz City Council meets to swear in the new council? That's on
The church, no, that's not. On the 20th of at 11:30 is church chamber meeting, and then 27th at 6:30 p.m. is Cibolo City Council meeting.
All right, Didi, I think, is that TASB winter governance brochure gone out? I don't recall seeing one.
I don't believe it has. It may be in today's update that Priscilla sent out. But if it didn't, we'll get it out.
Just letting you guys know, TASB always has a winter governance conference, which is usually late February, early in March, down in Corpus Christi, so the travel's not as big of a deal. It's usually a little bit smaller than some of the other conferences, just whatever reason you guys feel you want to go to that. We'll let you guys know ahead of time. The only other thing I just kind of want to bring to everybody's attention, last year at this time, as a result of the board election, we then elected our board officers, which is usually the first thing you do after any election. We now are on a 2-year election cycle, so we've somewhat unofficially just kept the board officers in place for 2 years. We don't have to do it that way. So it was asked earlier this week, but that's why it wasn't on the agenda, because we did not have an election this cycle. But I just want to let you guys know if there's any reason you do want to change officers, we're more than welcome to entertain that at the next board meeting.
He said David's doing a great job.
Anything else from the other board member? And I like what Mr. Pivotal said at the very beginning. Wish you guys all happy Thanksgiving. Anything you'd like to add on that? You're cooking for everybody?
Yeah.
Mr. Pivotal. All right, we'll go ahead and adjourn here at 9:54 p.m.